Welcome to this session on Axis System Design Tools and Axis Site Designer. Today I will show you how to make the most out of Axis Site Designer. Before we finish, I will also tell you about a few other tools that we have to help you out in your daily work. So why all these tools and how can they benefit your business? Imagine picking the exact right product for your project without having to spend all your spare time studying Axis product portfolio. Imagine responding within minutes with an updated quotation after a client requests a change to your offer. We know you face many challenges when designing, selling and installing surveillance systems. Obviously, time is your most valuable asset, and we want to give you the tools that help you waste as little of it as possible. This while at the same time letting you design the best and most successful projects. You know Axis' extensive product portfolio. There are hundreds of different devices and even more accessories to match. This is of course great, since it means you can meet up the most complex requirements, but it also means it can be difficult to know how everything ties together and to stay on top of the latest developments. Another challenge is how to find time to design and bid on projects, and of course how to efficiently update your designs and bids when the customer changes their mind. These challenges are exactly why we built Axis Site Designer. We have listened to system designers like you and have made a tool to match your needs. Since we first launched the tool in 2016, more than 30,000 users have used the tool to create over 90,000 projects. Let me give you a short tour of the tool to show you how you can put it to use to find products and save time throughout your projects. First, we will get started on a new project, and I'll show you how to pick the right cameras. This is what you see when you first start Axis Site Designer. In this view, all your projects will be listed. You can start using the tool right away, but we do recommend that you sign in. If you do, all your projects are uploaded to Axis servers, and you can work on your projects using any browser. Also, some features are only available when signed in. After signing in, I can access all my projects. To start a new one, click the Add Project button. Your new project is created, and you can use the project overview to name the project, set the location, and make project notes. We will look more into the features of the project overview a bit later. You are now ready to start adding cameras and other devices. If you do have a floor plan, the Maps feature is probably the most convenient way to add cameras. Start by uploading your floor plan. You can use PNG or JPEG files. Once the floor plan is uploaded, you'll need to set a scale. This is important to make sure that distances are correct. Simply position the scaling tool to measure something you know the size of and enter the distance into the tool. Done! We are now ready to add cameras. To add your first camera, simply drag it into the floor plan. Place it where you want it and adjust the view. You can decide if you want a regular camera or one with a panoramic view. You can also set the required pixel density at the far end of the view. Name your camera and pick colors to help make your design more clear. If you want to, you can add blockers to your floor plan to avoid giving the impression that cameras can see through walls. Activate the blocker tool. Click to draw lines. When done with a line, click the last point again. When you're done, cancel the blocker tool. Add as many cameras as you need. You do not need to select the model until later. You can hold down the Control or Command key when dragging a camera to increase the quantity for that model and keep any adjustments you have made. At any time when you want to select the camera model, click the Change Model button. This opens the camera selector. The camera selector helps you find exactly the right camera for every situation. To the left is an overview panel showing the camera coverage, and to the right you can adjust your requirements. As you notice, the requirements are already adjusted according to how the camera was set up in your floor plan. You can see the top 3 recommended models. You can compare their key features before making a selection. If you are looking for other options, you can pick any of the other cameras listed below. They will all match your requirements. If you have any specific needs for this camera, you can adjust the requirements and use the filter panel to narrow down your selection. For example, if you know you want a fixed camera, click the Fixed Camera button, and then only fixed cameras will be listed. When you have selected a model, you can use the overview to check out the camera coverage. There is a resolution preview to help determine what image quality you can expect. You can switch to a view through the lens to verify your crop, and you can orbit the view to get a better overview of how the camera will cover the target. Click Change to select the model and go back to the floor plan. If you drag the target further from the camera, you can now see the resolution guide. The darker area shows where you reach your required pixel density. The resolution preview shows you the expected image quality at the target distance, and you can also read out the pixel density at the target. Let's go ahead and select the remaining cameras. That is how you get your project started and find the right cameras. With the camera selector, you can always find the camera you need. Enter a few requirements and you have narrowed down your selection to something that is easy to manage and choose from. What then if you do not have a floor plan, or if you want to add other products such as modular cameras, speakers, or the radar? Of course you can add cameras and other devices directly to your project without using any floor plans. Go to Devices. The Add Camera button takes you directly to the camera selector, and you can use all the features I just showed you to find cameras. You'll find all other products using the Other Devices menu. To add the modular F and FA series cameras, you must first add the main unit. Select FA series. You can filter your selection and pick the main unit you need. Once it has been added, you can add sensor units to it. The sensor unit selector opens. This is much like the camera selector, and you can use it to find and add the sensor unit that matches your needs. One sensor unit is added to your main unit. You can click Add Sensor Unit to add more sensor units, or adjust the quantity of the one you have to fill up the main unit. You add video encoders in a similar way. To add speakers, select Speakers from the Other Devices menu. The speaker selector helps you find the right speaker and can recommend how many you need for your project. To get the quantity recommendation, you must decide if the speaker should be installed in the ceiling or on walls. The installation height is critical to determine the recommended quantity. For ceiling installation, you must enter the listening area the speakers are to cover. For wall placement, it is the wall length that is needed. There are instructions how to calculate the listening area and the wall length. Select the desired model to see the recommended quantity. You can now add the speakers to your project. Other products such as door controllers, radar detectors, and I/O relay modules are found by selecting More. Door stations are also available from this selection, but you'll also find them using the camera selector. If you already know the product you want, simply type part of the model name into the Quick Add box. Select from the drop-down to add the product. Once you have selected your devices, there is the small matter of what mounts and other accessories are needed. Axis has mounts and accessories for every situation, and luckily Axis Site Designer has a built-in accessory selector that knows exactly how these fit together with your devices. There is no need to spend time looking elsewhere to find out what parts are compatible. Click the accessories icon to add accessories to any device. To find mounts, first select the placement. Axis Site Designer will figure out all the ways that the device can be installed. You can browse alternative mounts and immediately see if any additional mounts are required. Accessories for the device itself can be added. Only the ones that are compatible are listed. You can even add accessories to accessories if needed. By the way, adding camera applications to your project is as easy as adding accessories. Click the application icon to open the application selector. Click the application you want. Just like the accessory selector, all products that are listed are compatible with the device. Then there are system accessories that are not directly associated with any device. You find these in the accessories view. Browse categories to find the product you want, or search for it using the search box. Add as many as you need. You can even add products and services that are not offered by Axis to your project. Go to the Other view. Type the name of a product or service to add it to the project. These items will be added to the bill of materials. That is the accessory selector. Imagine how much tedious searching for compatible accessories this will save you. Now that the devices and accessories are in place, it is time to start thinking about how the video should be recorded. To figure out what servers are needed, we must first know the recording bandwidth and how much storage is required. For each camera, the recording bandwidth and storage depend on camera and recording settings such as resolution, frame rate, and if you're using continuous or motion triggered recording. They also depend on what scene is being recorded. Is it busy with lots of details or more quiet? The performance of the selected camera model is also important. Finally, the required storage is obviously affected by the schedule used for the recording and the number of days you need to keep your recordings. The good thing is that Axis Site Designer will help you take all this into account and quickly estimate bandwidth and storage for your project. Let me show you how. In the devices view, you notice there are already bandwidth and storage estimates for each camera. These are calculated based on the scenarios that have been selected for the cameras. You can switch between any scenario that has been set up in your project, and you can create as many scenarios as you need. In Axis Site Designer, a scenario holds all the information about camera and recording settings and about the scene the camera is recording. Let's take a look at the scenario for this camera. At the top, you select the scene. Recording bandwidth varies a lot with different scenes. You need to pick the scene that you think most closely matches the scene your camera will be recording. You can also adjust how dark it is when light is low, and at what time of the day there is low light. Below, you select the schedule you want for motion triggered recording and continuous recording. You can change the recording settings for the camera and adjust how much motion you expect in good light and low light. At the bottom, you can decide if you want audio or not and adjust how many days video will be stored. Any changes you make here will only be applied to the selected camera. The red dots show the changes you have made. If you have other cameras that use the same scenario, they will not be affected by the changes and still use the original settings. If you think your new settings would be useful for other cameras, you can create a new scenario. This new scenario is then ready to be used by other cameras you add. Let's create a scenario for the car park. If you want to update the settings for all cameras that use a specific scenario, go to the project overview. Make your changes to the scenario and all cameras that use that scenario will be updated. This is very convenient when the requirements change. For example, if you suddenly need to extend the number of days to store video for your indoor cameras. Now all cameras that use the indoor scenario will store video for 60 days. In the project overview, you also adjust schedules. You can rename the schedule and use different schedules for each day in the week. When a schedule is updated, all scenarios that use that schedule are automatically updated and bandwidth and storage is recalculated accordingly. You can add as many schedules as you need. With the bandwidth and storage estimates taken care of, you can start selecting recorders and network switches. Go to Recording. The Recording selector shows your project requirements. This includes licenses, recording bandwidth, number of devices, number of network ports, and the amount of power needed. You can add any recorders, desktop terminals, and network switches you need to your project. You can also use servers and VMS software from some of Axis's partners, such as Milestone and Genetec. When done, you can verify that your system design fulfills the system requirements. In our case, we see that we need to add some storage. Click the accessories icon to add a hard drive to the server. Now we are all set. Now the design is done. You have all the right parts needed to meet the requirements and expectations. All that remains is to offer the solution, get it accepted, source the parts, and install the system. You can use Axis Site Designer to prepare a quotation. Go to the Reports view. The first tab in the Reports view is the Quotation Editor. You can add pricing to all products. Your contact details can easily be updated. This also goes for the client details. If you wish, you may add some header and footer text. When done, you can print the quotation or export it to Excel if you wish to use other systems. Now, of course, there may be a bit of back and forth, some changes requested and some requirements adjusted. Since the project is in Access Site Designer, you can quickly respond to these requests and update your offer in minutes. Let's say there is a request to replace the aisles camera with a dome model. Simply go to the Devices view. Select Change Camera from the menu. The camera selector loads with all the original requirements intact. Select Dome and pick the replacement product. No need to worry if the new choice will be able to replace the previous product. Or perhaps the opening hours have been extended. Go to the Project Overview. There you can adjust the business hours schedule. You'll get an immediate verification that the recording bandwidth and storage is still sufficient. You can now update the quotation with the pricing for the new camera and send a new offer. With this quick service and turnaround, I'm sure anyone looking for a surveillance system will be very happy and accept the offer. Now it's time to order the products and install the system. Access Site Designer is there to assist you. The bill of materials lists all products used in your project. There are part numbers for the Access products to make it easier to order them. This is why it's important to make sure that the correct country is set up for the project. If not, the wrong part numbers may be displayed. Always verify that the correct country is shown. When it is time to install the project, the installation report is handy. It prints one page for each camera, showing where it should be installed, what accessories and what settings to use. Any installation notes you have added are displayed here as well. Finally, if you're installing an Access Camera Station project, there is a convenient and time-saving feature. You can share all camera settings and camera names from Access Site Designer when installing the project. Go to the Project Overview. Click the Share icon. You can choose to create an access code. Then all the installer needs to do is to enter this into Access Camera Station when installing. Access Camera Station will pick up camera names and recording settings for your cameras directly from your Access Site Designer project. If the Access Camera Station system is disconnected from the internet, you can download the settings as a file instead and bring it with you when installing. Now that you know how to make use of Access Site Designer to design and install systems, I'm sure you see how the tool can help you save time and make the best choices. I'm sure you find that designing a project is still substantial effort, even with all the support from the tool. The good thing is that with your project stored in the tool, you can make use of all the work you have already put in designing those projects. The Scenarios and Schedules feature make it easy to repurpose designs that you have already made for new applications. When the new project has other requirements, simply update your schedules with new settings and adjust the scenarios as needed. If the project you are using as a starting point is old and has products that are now discontinued, the tool will let you know. It will find the recommended replacement products for you and you can switch them out. Click the arrow to go back to the project view. You can duplicate any of your projects to start a new one. Or you can import projects you or others have created earlier. After a while you will have created a library of projects you can reuse. The Project Overview lets you adjust your duplicated project to match your new requirements. You can adjust the schedules and scenarios and get feedback if you need to update your recording solution. In the Devices view, you can immediately see if any products are outdated in your project and replace them with a click. You can also adjust the quantity as needed and of course add and remove any products. Now you have noticed that Access Site Designer is a web app. What if you want to use the tool when you're on the road and have a spotty internet connection? There is no need to worry. Even though the tool runs in your browser, you can use it when you're offline. With the exception of your uploaded floor plans, all your project data and all the Access products are stored in the web browser. To use the tool when offline, simply go to the sitedesigner.access.com URL as usual. We recommend you saving it as a bookmark in order to always have Access Site Designer readily available. When you get back to the office and your internet connection, Any changes you have made are uploaded, and if there are new Axis products, these are added automatically to the tool. Now that you have seen how Axis Site Designer will help you with all aspects of designing your project, I would like to show you some other system design tools from Axis that are there to help you for those times when you simply need a quick answer. For example, to find a specific camera model that meets your requirements, or to find the right mount to install your chosen camera on a parapet. These tools are available to anyone, and they are all easily accessible on our website, axis.com. The product selector is the fastest way to find an Axis product based on features and specifications. With this tool, you can filter down your product selection, compare products, and link straight to relevant product info on axis.com. If you quickly need to find an accessory, there is the Axis Accessory Selector. It is similar to the one in Axis Site Designer. Pick a camera, select a placement, and you get to choose from all the alternative mounts that can be used. Like in Axis Site Designer, additional accessories can also be selected, and when you are done, the result is a bill of materials with all the part numbers you need to easily order the products. The product selector and the accessory selector are responsive apps, and they will work fine on your phone. The product selector is also available as an app for your iPhone, iPad, or Android device. You'll find it on the App Store or Google Play. Then there is the lens calculator. With the lens calculator, you can figure out what area can be covered by a camera and at what distance you get your required image quality. A great benefit of the lens calculator is that you can switch out the standard lens for any compatible accessory lens and use that lens for your calculations. Other tools help you planning your analytics applications. There are tools for Axis Retail Analytics and for Axis Perimeter Defender. If you need more detailed simulations of speaker coverage than what Axis Site Designer can provide, then there are audio tools available. Of course, some of your projects may be more complex and require you to do your designs using CAD software. Axis supports Autodesk Revit with interactive 3D camera models you can use to visualize cameras and camera coverage in your Revit projects. These models come with all the BIM metadata, that is Building Information Modeling metadata, that is required to support designers, builders, and maintainers over the camera's life cycle. What makes Axis Revit offering unique in our business is the plugin that we provide for the Revit software. The Axis plugin has a built-in product selector that lets you add cameras to your Revit projects in a snap. You can also use it to create quick 3D views from the CAD model as seen through the Axis camera. You can imagine how helpful that is to understand what exactly the camera you're designing is going to cover. For projects that don't require Revit, but where you would still like to have a 3D design and be able to visualize what the camera will see, there is the Axis plugin for SketchUp. The SketchUp CAD software from Trimble is probably the easiest to use and learn 3D CAD software. And with the plugin from Axis, you will be adding cameras in no time. Finally, there is Axis coverage shapes from Microsoft Visio. With these, you can place cameras and see coverage in 2D using Microsoft Visio. This tool is a bit similar to the Maps feature in Axis Site Designer. If you have created your designs using the Coverage Shapes tool, you can import your bill of materials into Axis Site Designer and use that tool to add accessories and create bandwidth estimates. As I mentioned before, all these tools are available on our website, axis.com. For a shortcut, go to axis.com/tools. This is what the Tools page looks like. On the page you have access to all the system design tools and many other helpful tools from Axis. In addition to the system design tools, there are numerous tools to help you install, operate, and manage your system, but those will have to be the topic of a separate presentation. You can learn more about each tool from the website. We hope and trust you will find good use for these tools and that they will help you save time designing successful projects. Go to our website and check them out. Thank you for your time.